Well, hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Ashmit Kumar, and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Sensex and Nifty post the biggest single-day gain in 2 months as markets snap a 5-week losing streak. Mid-caps continue to outperform with the index gaining 3% this week. August automobile sales throw up a mixed bag. Maruti and M&M report double-digit growth in passenger vehicle sales, but Tata Motors and Bajaj auto sales decline. India's Purchasing Managers Index for manufacturing hits a 3-month high, but employment generation slows to a 4-month low. India's daily power demand hits an all-time high. Daily power deficit also soars to record highs. Maharashtra, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka and Bihar face the highest power deficit. A new milestone for India's unified payments interface. Monthly UPI transaction volumes touched 10 billion in August, hitting a record high. Torrent Pharma are likely to have submitted a non-binding bid for CIPLA. Sources say Torrent is also evaluating a binding bid and is in talks with private equity players and international institutions to raise funds. That's an exclusive. Another CNBC-TV18 exclusive, Zeroda founder Nikhil Kamath eyes a larger stake in mobile gaming company Nazara Tech, looks to hike his stake from around 1% to 3.5% in his personal capacity. A global investigative news outlet accuses Vedanta of running a covert campaign to weaken India's environment laws during the COVID pandemic. The report claims that the Indian government approved the changes without public consultation and implemented them using illegal methods. Vedanta says it makes representation to the government in the best interest of national development. The union government forms a committee to explore the possibility of holding Lok Sabha elections and state assembly elections simultaneously. Former President Ramnath Kovind likely to head the committee. Top leaders of the opposition alliance I.N.D.I.A meet in Mumbai to plan for the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, pass a resolution to fight the polls together, form a coordination committee. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge warned India partners to be prepared for raids and arrests in the coming months. Children from void marriages will enjoy equal rights to parents' ancestral property as per the Hindu succession law, says the Supreme Court. The top court clarifies that children are entitled to inherit a share in property notionally allotted to their parents. Royal Enfield rolls out the next generation bullet motorcycle on a starting price of 1.73 lakh rupees. Bookings open today and deliveries will begin from the 3rd of September. Well, let's begin with a look at the day's market action. Stock markets have snapped a 5-week losing streak. Sensex and Nifty notched up gains of over 1% for the day and the week. Friday saw the biggest single-day rally for the major indices in 2 months. Financial stocks lead with gains. Mid-caps also rallied in tandem with the blue chips for the day. But for the week, mid-caps outperformed and the index gained over 3%. Oil prices have risen for a 4th consecutive session and are on track to snap a 2-week losing streak. This on the back of tightening supplies and expectations that the OPEC Plus group of oil producers will extend output cuts to the end of the year. And air travel may get more expensive. Oil marketing companies have hiked the jet fuel prices by 14% to over 1.12 lakh rupees per kiloliter. The latest hike has taken the aviation turbine fuel prices to the highest level since December of 2022. In the last 3 months, ATF prices have surged around 24%. Public sector oil companies have slashed the price of commercial LPG cylinders by 158 rupees. The new prices will be effective from today. This comes after the government reduced the prices of household gas cylinders by 200 rupees. Remember, prices of commercial LPG cylinders were slashed by 100 rupees in August. Well, here is a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Torrent Pharma is likely to have submitted a non-binding bid for CIPLA. We learned from sources that Torrent has started financial due diligence and a decision on tabling a binding bid will be taken in a few weeks' time. Ekta Batra is joining us now with more details. Ekta, tell us, what are you picking up?
Yes, the latest I am picking up from my sources is that Torrent Pharma is likely to have submitted a non-binding bid for CIPLA. We understand from sources that financial due diligence of CIPLA is currently underway by the company. Because of the large ticket size of the deal, which would be over 50,000 crores inclusive of an open offer, the question arising is how is Torrent, despite its track record of acquisitions, albeit smaller, is likely to fund a deal of this size. The company, we understand from sources, is actively looking at funding options to bridge the gap. As per sources, they are currently in talks with 3 to 4 private equity firms and separately exploring international institutional funding options as well. Lastly, what are the synergies? Torrent believes the geographical access is key. For example, the India portfolio overlap is limited to around 5%. Torrent would also get access to the US market, which is over 5x larger than Torrent's, and access to other markets such as South Africa. We have reached out to both parties and are awaiting comments. Torrent Pharma has, however, issued a clarification to the exchanges pertaining to a news item referring to potential sale of shares by promoters pertaining to their involvement in the acquisition of CIPLA shares. The company has said they do not comment on speculative reports in absence of verified data, no information which requires disclosure as of now. If there is any proposal warranting disclosure, the company will promptly comply. The stock, however, has been under pressure on fears of what the structure could look like, what the debt on books for Torrent could probably look like. They already have a gross debt of around 5,000 odd crores. And what would happen to key opportunities in case this deal goes through, such as Revlimid generic, a key cancer drug in the US markets.
Right, Ekta, thanks a lot for that. Now, speaking of pharma, sales of generic drugs under the government's Jan Aushadhi scheme has risen by 38% in FY23. Now, government is selling these drugs at a cheaper rate through more than 9,500 outlets across the country. The compounded annual growth rate over the last 5 years is at 54%. The drugs sold under the scheme are cheaper by 50 to 90%. For example, a strip of paracetamol costs as little as 7 rupees. Compare this to 8 to 9 rupees for an unbranded generic and anywhere between 40 to 70 rupees for a branded version of paracetamol. Now, these price differences have seen savings as much as 6,000 crore rupees for Indian patients in just a single year. Speaking exclusively to CNBC-TV18, the CEO of Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices Bureau, Ravi Dadich, which runs the Jan Aushadhi scheme, said that all drugs are procured from WHO-certified companies to maintain quality.
We procure all the medicines through WHO GMP-certified companies only. And even after placing the orders with these companies, when we procure these medicines, there is a centralized procurement in our 4 warehouses located in all parts of the country. After receiving these products, every batch is again tested, is sent for these products are anonymized and then sent to NABL accredited labs for retesting.
In other news, credit ratings agency Moodys has raised India's GDP growth forecast for 2023 from 5.5% to 6.7%. The agency has said that strong expansion in the services sector and capital expenditure has propelled India's 7.8% real GDP growth. However, it has cut its 2024 forecast from 6.5% to 6.1%, citing that the second quarter outperformance created a high base effect. Meanwhile, India's manufacturing activity witnessed the fastest growth in 3 months in the month of August. As per the S&P Global Purchasing Managers Index, India's manufacturing PMI came in at 58.6, slightly higher than July's figure of 57.7. It was largely led by increase in new orders and production. A reading above 50 indicates expansion. However, overall employment rose at the slowest pace in 4 months. Also, the auto stocks rallied in trade today despite reporting a mixed set of sales for the month of August. Mahindra and Maruti witnessed strong growth across most segments. Mahindra's PV sales saw a 25% boost, recording the highest ever SUV sales last month. However, Bajaj Auto and Tata Motors sales witnessed a significant slump. Speaking to CNBC-TV18, Bajaj Auto's management said that they remain hopeful of a 5 to 8% growth in the festive season.
what we are seeing in retail terms, it's now at about 4 to 5% growth over the same period last year. We expect that this should obviously, with the festive kicking in, should probably go up to 5 to 8%. So nothing dramatic.
Well, demand for credit declines across sectors in July as per HSBC's latest data. Credit growth stood at over 20% in July, including the HDFC merger. Non-food credit segment has the sharpest decline in growth, followed by housing, agriculture and credit cards. HSBC expects overall credit growth for FY24 at 19%, including HDFC. Well, India's power demand has hit a record high on the last day of August. Daily power deficit has also risen to record highs. The Power Ministry has attributed this to dry spells in some regions and humid weather. Rachna Dharananjani is here joining us now with more details.
India's power demand peaked at an all-time high on the last day of August. The maximum power demand met on August 31st was above 236 gigawatts, surpassing its recent record high of 234 that was recorded on August 17. Now, both these numbers are above Power Ministry's estimate of about 230 gigawatts. For the last 2 weeks of August, India has been recording a power demand of about 233 gigawatts per day with a deficit of about 5,000 megawatts. But on August 31st, this deficit number went up to 8,000 megawatts. The rise in demand is primarily due to increased impact of low rainfall and setting in of the El Nino effect. Now remember, the month gone by was the driest August in about 120 years. And according to I.N.D.I.A, rainfall went from 15% in July to minus 36% in August, further leading to about 263 of the 717 districts with inadequate rainfall across the country. According to the data by Grid Controller of India, Maharashtra took the biggest hit with a deficit of about 3,000 megawatts. It was followed by Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, Bihar, all seemingly agriculture-focused states with heavy reliance on renewable sources of energy. Now, share from renewable sources of energy also dropped to 9% from 15%. And to offset this deficit, coal was ramped up to 70% from 65%. However, analysts estimate that even though coal was ramped up, it wasn't done in time, and that could be the reason why we saw a peak deficit on August 31st. A report of power generated using coal is expected later today, but in the meantime, impact of low rainfall and supply chain disruption of coal are the two primary reasons why we witnessed peak deficit, and especially in Maharashtra, where power demand has been consistent, but supply has been disrupted.
Well, here's a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Zeroda founder Nikhil Kamath is looking to increase stake in gaming company Nazara Technologies. Sources have told CNBC-TV18 that Kamath, who holds about 1% stake in the company, is in talks to raise his stake to 3.5%. However, Nazara Tech has refused to comment, calling this development speculative. Meanwhile, a global investigative outlet has accused Vedanta of running a campaign to weaken India's environment laws during the pandemic. The report has claimed that the Indian government approved the changes without any public consultation and that these actions were implemented by using illegal means. Vedanta has responded to this report, saying that the representations made to the Indian government were done in the best interest of national development. Well, India's unified payments interface has hit a new milestone. Transactions in August have crossed 10 billion for the first time, hitting a record high. Total transactions have also crossed 15 lakh crore rupees for the second consecutive month. Ritu Singh now joins us with more details. Ritu, big numbers. These take us through these numbers, help us understand and decode these numbers.
UPI transactions have reached all previous records to cross 10 billion transaction volumes in August, a significant milestone for India's digital payment story. But to put that 10 billion number in perspective, that is 2 billion more than the entire population of the world. That's how many transactions Indians made using UPI in just 1 month. Now, there's been a steady rise in both the value and volume of transactions Through UPI, transaction volumes breached 9.9 billion in July before touching 10 billion in August. Similarly, in value terms, we're seeing more than 15 lakh crore worth of transactions being done monthly via UPI. And the journey to each successive billion transactions has also been getting shorter. For instance, it took UPI 3 years to clock its first billion transactions, another 1 year to the second billion, and now we have the 10th billion in just 3 months. The popularity of UPI is such that it accounts for more than 75% of all retail digital transactions today, more than 330 million unique users, more than 70 million merchants using it daily. Now together, PhonePe, Google Pay and Paytm account for 96.5% of the total UPI transaction count. Now if you compare UPI to other digital payment systems, the latest data shows how UPI is growing much faster than any other mode, including RTGS, NEFT or IMPS and others. But this growth is not without challenges. Now the scenario where customers are charged 0 rupees for UPI payments has made it tough for banks and payment companies to make profits. The rise in UPI popularity also comes with an increase in UPI frauds, and that has gone up from 77,000 a couple years ago to more than 95,000 as of FY23. And yes, while UPI has put India on the global map, whether it will be able to replicate that success in other countries is yet to be seen. So what next? For one, its usage is expected to continue to grow, accounting for almost 90% of all retail digital transactions in the next 5 years, and NPCI aims to get to 1 billion transactions per day within the next 2 to 3 years, which is 3 times of what we're currently seeing, and hoping that offline UPI will drive the next leg of expansion.
Right, Ritu, thanks a lot for that. Now, Royal Enfield has launched the next generation Bullet motorcycles. The starting price of the Bullet 350 is more than 1.73 lakh rupees. The bookings for the Bullet will start from today and deliveries will commence from 3rd of September. Jude Sanith reports from the launch event in Chennai.
A 91-year-long legacy at Royal Enfield is all set to continue thanks to the company's launch of the all-new Bullet 350. Design-wise, the bike makes for some familiar comebacks. For instance, the iconic Madras stripes have made an appearance, hand-painted till this very day, even as Royal Enfield's winged badge has also scripted a bit of a comeback with that crown logo to boot. So it's a bit of familiarity that as far as the bike is concerned. The familiar curves, the shine, the iconic headlamp, and design emblematic of Royal Enfield's masculine build have held pride of place in this variant itself. But what is perhaps a lot more attractive is the bike's pricing and its distribution. For instance, I.N.D.I.A Motors has said that it starts at just about 1.73 lakh rupees for the base variant. That's, remember, the military red and military black, even as the standard variant costs about 1.97 lakh rupees, and the golden black is priced at the apex at 2.16 lakh rupees. Distribution-wise, the company said that these bikes will hit the store or will be available for booking rather as early as today itself, even as retail sales will begin from September 3rd. Export-wise, the Bullet 350 will make its way to European markets by the end of October. Remember, Royal Enfield is easily 24 months away from its first ever EV, at least that's according to Siddharth Lal, MD and CEO of I.N.D.I.A Motors. So in the interim, there's ample room for Bullet lovers, petrol ones at that, remember, to continue to enjoy this very iconic and vintage design, even as the company hopes to keep launching petrol bikes for the next 24 months when it will begin its EV production. So for the moment, it's the all-new Bullet. It's the continuation of a legacy that began in 1932, and it's every bit as iconic as you'd expect it to be.
Well, with that, it's time now to slip into a very short break. But up next, the union government forms a committee to explore the possibility of one nation, one election. Also, the Indian opposition group Resolve to Fight Polls jointly forms a coordination committee. More on that up next. Welcome back. The government has formed a committee to explore the possibility of one nation, one election. This comes a day after the central government announced a special parliament session from September 18th to 22nd. Earlier today, BJP's national president J.P. Nadda met former President Ramnath Kovind, who is likely to head this committee. The former president had pitched the idea of one nation, one election in 2018.
A person of the stature like Sri Ramnath Kovind ji has taken the decision, or he has accepted the offer of the Prime Minister. Now this commission will definitely look after the issue of one nation, one election, because multiple election involve lots of money, and because every time India is in election mode, development suffered a lot.
देश के सामने अहम मुद्दे महिला सम्मान हैं, किसानों की जो दिक्कतें हैं वो हैं, बढ़ते बेरोजगारी पर है, चिरमराई हुई अर्थव्यवस्था पर है, चाइना जिस तरीके से अग्रसर हो रहा है उस पर है। ये सारी देश की चिंता हैं। अगर ये स्पेशल सेशन उसको एड्रेस करता है तो ये स्वागत योग्य है, वरना अपना एजेंडा चलाने के लिए, सत्ता में कायम रहने के लिए काम करता है या इन मुद्दों से ध्यान भटकाने का काम करता है, तो दिखाता है भारतीय जनता पार्टी तिलमिलाई हुई, घबराई हुई पार्टी है।
Now, while the BJP explores the possibility of one nation, one election, it was day 2 of Mumbai meet for India. The opposition grouping, the Alliance, has now formed a coordination committee which includes K.C. Venugopal of the Congress, Sharad Pawar of the NCP, Raghav Chadda of the Aam Aadmi Party, Abhishek Banerjee of Trinamool Congress and Tejasvi Yadav of RJD, among others. The bloc released 3 resolutions. This includes jointly contesting the forthcoming elections together as far as possible.
रेजोल्यूशन भी काम करेंगे, हर जगह मीटिंग करेंगे, हर स्टेट कैपिटल में हम जाएंगे और जो ये मुद्दे हैं, इन्फ्लेशन का हो, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट का हो, हर चीज की जो बढ़त हो रही उसका हो, और ऑटोनोमस बॉडीज को सत्यानाश कर रहे हैं, और चाहे ईडी, सीबीआई, विजिलेंस, हर एक ऑटोनोमस बॉडी का मिसयूज कर रहे हैं, ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ।
Well, here's the big story from the court corner. A 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court ruled that children born out of void or voidable Hindu marriages are entitled to inherit their deceased parents' share in ancestral property. The court, however, clarified that the ruling is applicable only to Hindu joint families governed by the Mitakshara succession law. A quick background here. Section 16, subsection 3 of the Hindu Marriage Act limits the rights of children from void or voidable marriages to only parents' property. However, in 2011, a 2-judge bench of the Supreme Court held that children from a void marriage would be entitled to equal rights as those from valid marriages. However, since the 2-judge bench differed with the view taken by the coordinate benches, the matter was referred to a larger bench. The CJI Chandrachud-led bench, 3-judge bench, to be specific, had reserved their judgment in the month of August. Well, fashion-forward and pocket-friendly, that's the new mantra for India's top apparel and accessory retailers. CNBC-TV18 Shilpa Ranipeta reports on how the premium segment is taking a big backseat as retailers and fashion labels focus on getting the youth to step into their shoes.
Tops for $2.99, pants for $4.99, shoes for $7.99, everything below $9.99. These price tags are the latest selling point in the world of Indian fashion retail. From Tata Trends Zudio to Reliance Retail's Ustar to Shoppers Stop's Intune, these stores are the latest trend in fashion retail. The positioning? Exclusive brand offerings that are fashion-forward, pocket-friendly and pitched at a younger audience.
Style is young, it is peppy, and it suits the 15 to 25 kind of an age group. This segment understands fashionability the best. We'll be very, very pocket friendly, but we will give you absolutely trending fashion. Every 10 days there'll be a new offering which will be coming in. Each of these trend lines will be pulled from across the globe.
Unlike premium brands, value retail does not offer high gross margins, but retailers are not worried.
It is one of the many myths
that higher gross margins means more profit and lower gross margins or retail margins means less profit. You rightly just said it is a productivity, which in this case is how many times you can turn the stock within your stores. And then, of course, in the enterprise level, determines how profitable you are as a business. Success in value retail when it comes to fashion is where you can find that magic of giving lower prices to the customer by having your margins lower as well.
Tata Trends Zudio has proof of this in its numbers. This chain's revenues have grown 77% to 1,250 crore rupees in the first quarter. In contrast, Tata Trends' older flagship store Westside saw a 36% jump in revenues to 1,280 crore rupees. Small wonder then that Trent has opened more Zudio stores than Westside stores in the first quarter, 40 versus 7, and now has more Zudio stores than Westside stores. Experts say the game is now about tapping into an aspirational India.
But what e-commerce has taught them, and the fact that the consumer is also evolving in terms of incomes, is that the tier 2 power is there to unleash. They also have their aspirations and they want to get the branded products which they typically don't. And they've got the taste of blood through e-commerce and other digital channels, and now that's converting into offline sales as well.
The idea is not a new one. V-Mart and Max Fashion have long established themselves in this segment, but they say there's space for more.
I will not say that it is keeping me awake at night, but definitely good competition, and it's always you should always be on your toes. So it will also force you to innovate. It will also force you to do something different and better, and that's how you have to grow.
But just opening new stores won't be enough. Retailers will have to roll up their sleeves to get this right.
For a segment where achieving a double-digit EBITDA margin at a store level is a challenge, efficiency is key to succeed in this competitive market. Efficiency, right price and positioning is how players can crack this segment that is currently being seen as a $5 billion addressable market. In Mumbai, Shilpa Ranipeta.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business 360. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC-TV18. The news and updates continue on the other side.